Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome to another episode of Life in Common podcast. I'm your host, Annette Rose, and today's episode we are calling The Bold and the Beautiful. But before we get into that, I am wearing a pair of Seja Afrocentric jewelry, and they're sponsoring today's episode. So I'm going to post a link below. Make sure you get a pair of cute earrings or necklaces and check them out, okay? So here's some facts about today's episode. 68% of today's women are, in fact, a size 14 and over, which is very different to life in the 50s where everybody was a size 0 to 2. Now, with me today is the beautiful Ophilia, who is a plus size model here in Canada. Welcome, beloved. Let the people know
Thank
who you are. You're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone. My name is Ophilia Elaine, plus size model and motivational speaker and philanthropist. And I'm just honored to be here. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
So, yeah, basically, I started my journey in 2000 to 2002. I started my journey as a plus size model. And then from there, at the time I was unsigned. And then I moved on to being signed with an agency approximately 6 to 7 years ago. And it's just been a whirlwind of hard work, fun, good lessons, hard lessons, life lessons. But it's been amazing.
I love it. Well, I've seen you in print ads. I've seen you, was that Walmart, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
So I was like at home with everybody, like, oh my God, I know her. And I've seen you on the shopping channel.
Yeah.
So I've seen you a few places. So let everybody know, how did you rise to the top of your game in the plus size modeling industry, and how hard was that? Or was it hard at all?
It was actually quite hard. I came in, I like to call myself the second wave of plus size models in Canada. The first wave was Megan Bomber, Lise Wincheisman.
Wow.
That was the first wave of plus size women that I seen in Canada.
Gotcha.
And then after that, and they were signed, they were notable faces, they were with agencies. And then after that came in another phase of models, and we were the unsigned models. It was a group of women who were seeking fellowship, who loved fashion, and who loved modeling, and knew that there was a deficit in the market and we wanted to be seen.
Lovely.
And so we had organizers like Georgia Greenwood, who started the Fuller Woman Expo.
Wow.
We had people like Megan, who actually came back and created the Curvy Expo.
Nice.
And we had Stephanie Joseph, the founder of the Natural Hair and Beauty Show, now known as Textured.
Wow.
Those are the ladies who were paving the way in terms of opening a spot for plus size women, plus size models to be showcased on a main stage. So I started with a group of women, and we were basically, a part of these shows. And at one point I created my own fashion show as well. So
nice.
Yeah, it was called Curves Are In. And that was an experience in itself. So we had women like Stephanie Joseph opening up her, the platform for us to be a part of that. And then to me creating things and other women creating things, just so that we could say to the community that, hey, we're here. There are women who love fashion that look like us. And so it started very community-based. Also, Pennington's was a huge part of that.
Wow.
Pennington's used to have something called in-store fashion shows. And that's really how I got my start.
Wow.
So it came from a spot where I was basically just hiding my body. I used to stay I used to stay in like a full windbreaker. I used to cover my body. I was so ashamed.
Yeah, I get you.
So ashamed of myself. And I remember going to Pennington's one day, and they're like, "Would you like to be a part of our in-store fashion show?" And I'm like, "Hell no!" And my mom's like, "Hell yeah, put her in." So I was voluntold, and from there, just the feeling of seeing women feel good, and clothing that look good on them. And then from there, meeting these other partners along the way, that's how my journey began.
That's such a wealth of history. I'm really glad that you shared that because I'm sure a lot of people do not know. Do you think the industry is better now, or have they progressed, or are things the same?
I always struggle with this. I definitely think there's a progression.
Yeah.
And I think the progression came from plus size models,
Okay.
but I also think the door was kicked down. We started to kick down the door, but the door came barreling down with the onset of vloggers and bloggers
Yes.
who just came in and they're like, we're here, we're fat, we're proud, we're beautiful, thick,
Yes.
big booty, big arms. And so we had no
Yep.
choice, but the world had no choice, but they can no longer deny us. We
Yes.
were here and we were beautiful and we love fashion and we wanted to be a part of the market. So there's definitely growth. There's been a lot of growth,
Yeah.
but there's still more to do.
Wow. Um, Sometimes plus size women feel invisible. Did you ever feel invisible?
Oh, for sure, for sure. You're gonna go through that, especially in modeling. You have to have a thick skin
Okay.
when you're modeling, or anytime you're putting yourself out.
Oh,
You have to have a thick skin,
yeah.
and even if you're walking outside, you have to have a thick skin because there's gonna be someone who's walking along the way who's gonna see those thick thighs and a pair of shorts and think that you should not be wearing that.
Can
For
you
some
go
reason,
ahead?
people think that they're entitled
Yeah,
to
right.
opinion.
Touch on it.
And so you have to have a thick skin, especially when you're owning yourself, and it comes with the territory.
I
It's
love
not easy.
I love that. So while we're on that, um, what do you say to people who say plus size women are unhealthy? Now, some plus size women are, but that women at your size, my size, are unhealthy, do not take care of themselves. What do you say to that?
It's none of your business.
Just being devil's advocate, but go
Yeah.
ahead.
It's none of your business. My health is
Wow.
none of your business.
Wow.
At the end of the day, I remember being in my 20s and I had a girlfriend who went on to be Miss World Fitness. And our thing was to start at the top of Young and Bloor and walk all the way down to Queen and Spadina, grab a coffee or tea along the way and just walk and talk.
Wow.
And I can tell you throughout that walk,
Yeah.
she was the one taking the break because her knees
Wow.
were hurting her.
Yes.
Right. And
Yeah.
I was like, let's go. But
Yeah.
like I was very, compassionate. I
Yes.
understood.
Yeah.
So we look at people like what is it, Steve Jobs?
Yep. Yep.
He had access to the richest man had access
Richest
to
man.
the best of the best. And guess what? He
Yeah.
still died of cancer. So
Yes.
at the end of the day, I think it's a personal journey.
Yeah.
You have to know your body. You have to know when your body is at its healthiest and when it's not. So
Yeah.
whether that be you're at 120 pounds or 250 pounds,
Mhm.
you have to know your body.
You have to know your body. I think that's very good to say because it's almost like people judge you, but you're walking in the body, right? It's your body,
Exactly.
it's your truth. And you don't want to celebrate being unhealthy, but not every plus size is an unhealthy body. And I think that's something that people need to realize, right? And as you said, it's your business.
Exactly. It's my business.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, like, what are you doing for me that you need to be all up in there?
Yeah, I got
Just
you.
just leave us alone.
That would be nice. I do find though that there's more of an acceptance today than many, many years ago for women who are larger size. I can definitely say that personally. And I think that's good. But I do think it's also healthy to highlight being mindful of your health as well.
For sure.
You know
For
what I
sure.
mean? For
For
me
sure.
personally, that's a message that I would like to. I celebrate every body size, but I also celebrate being well and healthy holistically, right?
Exactly. Well, here's my thing, right? To people who want to fat shame, it is a known fact. If you constantly put down someone, the
Yeah,
chances of them doing any better are slim. You have a child and
exactly.
you tell them every day that they're dumb, they're dumb, they're dumb. The child will not progress. And
Exactly.
it's the same thing for all those people that think that it is their business.
Yeah.
If you genuinely want to see a
Mhm.
change,
Yeah, no,
then
seriously. Go
Give
ahead.
me the information,
Yeah.
motivate me, be supportive, and
Yeah.
perhaps I might come along because it's presented in a way that's positive.
And
But you fat
encouraging.
shame me,
Yeah.
it's not going to do anything. What it's going to do is it's going to stop me from receiving your information.
Yes.
Period.
I hear that. And I hope they hear that too. Okay. So listen, what advice would you give to somebody, a woman, a man, about being comfortable in their own skin? We kind of touched on it, but what would you say to somebody about being comfortable in their own skin?
Good question. Well, number one, work on your confidence. And, confidence is a work in progress.
Yeah.
And it's also a compilation of, like, I like to say it's a compilation of many things. So,
Mm.
number one, being comfortable in your own skin.
Hmm.
When you look at your confidence and who you are, look at the holistic picture, not just one aspect. Who are
Exactly.
you as a community member? Who are you as a mother, a father? Who are you as a friend, a colleague? Look at the entire thing. Who are you to your relationship with your higher being? For me, that's God.
Yes.
What is that relationship like? And then who are you with the relationship with your physical body
Yes.
as well? So
Mm.
it's confidence is a compilation of many things, and
Mm.
that's number one. And number two, it takes work. It's not like you get it, you acquire confidence, and then the work is done. Confidence is something that you're always going to have to be working at. And the reason why you're going to always have to work at it is because your body,
Yeah.
your life is always changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I recall sitting in front of my grandmother when she was in her 80s,
Okay.
right before she passed, face to
Yeah.
face. And she's like, I'm so ugly. And I'm like, why?
Mm.
And she's like, look at my hands. Everything is sagging. She's I'm
Right.
no longer pretty. And
Wow.
even at that age, there she was again, struggling with her
Yeah.
confidence because this was now a new norm for
For
her.
her. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
we were sitting in front of each other,
Got
and
you.
I was massaging her arms, and she was massaging mine, and I was telling her, "You're so beautiful," and
Yeah.
she's like, "You're so beautiful." Yeah, so
I
it
love
is a
that.
work in progress.
Yeah.
So continue to do the work.
Yeah.
Um, accept yourself for where you're at.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of body positivity, understand your shape, understand
That's
your
good.
size, understand what looks good on you too as well.
That's
So
good.
have fun with fashion. Don't be afraid of it. Put it on. If it doesn't look good, okay,
Throw
throw it
it out.
out.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
I
get
love
to
it.
know your body and what really looks good on your body.
I love that. You kind of crossed over into my next question about like lifestyle hacks for the plus size body. And you did a little bit, elaborate a little bit more. What kind of hacks
Oh,
would you say? I'll tell you
like
what
in
I'll
terms,
say. What you got one?
okay, no, you give me one.
Okay, so for me, some of us have a little pouch on there. I really appreciate good shapewear, right?
Yes.
So there's shapewear that is not so form-fitting, which is for like your everyday. And if you want to go to a cocktail party after COVID, do you
Yep.
know what I mean? There's other shapewear that has bones and things like that that can kind of cinch you in. And I feel very confident when I just, have a nice fitting shapewear. So
You
for
snatch
me,
that waist.
yeah, to be honest,
Yeah.
why let it all hang? Personally, I think a little snatch is good. Get some good
Yeah.
shapewear. So that's the
Yeah.
hack for me. What would be yours?
And you know what? To that point,
Yeah.
whether you're plus size or skinny,
Yeah.
shapewear is important in your clothing
Yeah.
because it does smooth out the lines,
You can touch
make
on
you look
that. That's
flawless, right?
true.
It is true.
Because you
Yeah.
a model. You can tell them he works for everybody.
Well, you know what? When I was working on the shopping channel, we would have models that were a size 4 to 6. And then you had me, I was like a size 20,
Yeah.
and we all had shaper on.
Yeah. Wow.
Because again, it smooths out the
Wow.
lines,
That's
We
that's
want to look neat in our clothing. There's nothing wrong with that.
I love that. I
So one
really
of
do.
my thank you. One of my hacks is high-waisted pants and high-waisted tights. So
Really?
for those people who are like, oh, like I'm not doing the shapewear, I'm just over it,
Okay.
not a problem. Wear high-waisted tights, high-waisted jeans. It's a great
Really?
hack. You don't have to do the shapewear. You get a little extra coverage. You look neat in your clothing, and yeah.
Oh, That's interesting, actually, because that would help the fallback when you sit down. Just saying, it's a
Yeah,
little bit.
exactly, right?
Well done, Ophelia. Well done. Okay, listen, on a more serious note, can you take a moment to tell people kind of what you do? You mentioned some of the businesses that you do or other things that you have your hand in. Talk about
Mhm.
that a little bit.
Okay, so we have the modeling aspect.
Yeah.
Also, I'm a motivational speaker,
Mhm.
so it's just something that I
Wow.
love it. Anytime I speak, within 30 seconds, I look at it and I'm like, this is what I'm meant to do with my life.
Yes.
And also I'm a philanthropist as well. I have a foundation
Yeah.
entitled Ophilia and Friends Give Back.
Wow.
And this past year, I actually partnered with my brother.
Wow.
He's 12 years old, and
Aw, that's
he's at
great.
the beginning of his own
That's
venture.
very
It's
sweet.
called Peter's Heart.
Right.
So we partnered, and what we did is we did groceries for seniors and care
Oh,
packs for the homeless. So every year, actually twice a year, we make this a point to give back. Um, and I have this slogan that goes with it: if we all gave a little, no one would have to go without. We
wow.
actually don't need as much as we think that we need,
Yeah.
and I think this pandemic has actually shown us that.
Yeah, that's
So if
true.
you have 15 pairs of shoes, you can give away five to someone who doesn't
And
have.
still have 10. Just saying.
Exactly. Like, and we're still good. We're
Right?
still good. Let's just share.
Yeah. I
Let's
love
give.
I love that you're using your platform and your influence to, hit the community. I think that's really, really good.
Thank
You know what I mean?
you.
So
Thank
thank you,
you.
thank you, thank you for that. Do you have any parting words?
Uh, Parting words.
Mhm.
I just want people to go out there and just, be fearless,
Yeah.
be passionate, and just try. There's nothing wrong with trying. And the most that's going to happen is that you're going to realize what you tried is not for you and move on. But you have one life, make the most of it and just enjoy it. When you look back, I want you all to have no regrets.
Wow. That's actually some pretty good stuff. I mean, there's so many nuggets that you gave today. You're so well spoken to me.
Thank
And
you.
I can see this whole public speaker thing and motivational speaker. I look forward to seeing you on many different platforms. Are you still
Thank you.
modeling or has COVID just completely shut you down?
Oh my gosh, COVID kind of did. Um, that's okay. I'm no longer with my agency,
Okay.
which is actually, it served its time,
Yep.
and I'm actually happy with the next step.
Ooh,
I have now more freedom.
nice. Nice.
But I was actually just recently, I'm approached by a designer
Yes.
to go into partnership for an upcoming project. So I
Mm.
can't say much right now, but that's something to look forward to. And then also, I am starting my own YouTube channel. So
Woo!
I haven't created a launch date yet. I'm just putting together the nuts and bolts, as you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So
work, but
it is.
honestly, it's worth it. There are people who need to hear what you have to say, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
and I learned that from this journey. It's a lot of work and there's a lot of doubt, do people really want and is this what I should be doing? But honestly, if you touch even one person, do you know what I mean? Somebody messages you and say, "Man, you really helped me throughout my stuff today." It's worth it, even just for that. So don't stop. Make sure you do it. I will be an avid listener, as you know. Before we go, we're going to shout out listener of the week. Listener of the week this week is Sharina Payne from Montreal, and we're celebrating her. Thank you. Yay, Sharina. As she shared her own story of loss with her grandmother when we had the episode about death and dying. So shout out to Sharina Payne in Montreal. Thank you to my lovely, lovely guests. I mean, I was almost really nervous talking to you today. No, because you've done so much, you know what I mean? And you're so
Annette, do
professional.
you know
You know
who
what I
you
mean?
are?
Yeah,
Do you
but
know who you
but I also know who you are. So
I love love. I love it.
but I'm extremely humbled that you took the time to sit with us today. And we spoke about this before. There will be a part two where we'll have a few more extra ladies talking about being bold and beautiful in this world as plus size women. So thank you to you. Thank you to everybody for listening. Please check us out on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. We'll hit the links below and you'll know where to find us. See you next time on Life in Common podcast.